Pittsburgh neighborhoods hold secrets and stories, some filled with beautiful architecture and tales of another time. And the only way to get the tea is to get a little nebby.
And we love that. One of the neatest house tours around takes us to Observatory Hill. Not only are these houses stunning, they have some wild history too. Here to tell us more is Brian Larson, the Observatory Hill House Tour Committee Chair. Thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
This is really neat. We know that there are a lot of really wonderful house tours in our area exploring different neighborhoods in Pittsburgh and in the suburbs too. There is something really unique though about Observatory Hill.
There is. Observatory Hill is one of Pittsburgh's northernmost neighborhoods, and we are lined right around Riverview Park, and of course the Allegheny Observatory is right there, which is our namesake. It's the crown jewel, and tour goers will have the opportunity to actually see inside. Take a look at the Langley telescope.
Oh,
really
wow.
neat.
And I know there are different home tours just around the city. What makes this particular tour stand out?
Sure. So we collaborate with all the other house tours. We advertise for each other. We collaborate with scheduling our dates. But our tour is a little bit different. We want to talk about the stories within the walls. It's not just about the beautiful architecture and the fireplaces and the hardwood floors. It's more about the stories of the people that built those homes and the generations that have lived in them since.
You know, my aunt and my uncle lived on Riverview Avenue for many years, and I remember going into their home in Observatory Hill, and you could, I'm not making this up, you could almost feel it as soon as you walk in, the history of the homes because of the architecture. And even, I don't know, I told you, it even felt a little haunted because it's so old, you can kind of feel that. But there are some really wonderful stories that are attached to some of these homes.
There are. You know, the history is definitely palpable as soon as you step through the doors. For example, my own home, which will be on the tour this year, it sits on Judges Row. It was built originally by Walter and Molly May, who owned May Patent Stores, largest chain of patent stores in the country at the time.
This is your house right here?
Yes, it is.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. My husband and I took ownership of this back in 2017. It's actually our second house in the neighborhood.
Beautiful.
And this will be our third time on the tour with this house, fourth tour overall.
So tell us a little bit more about the family that lived there and the history.
Yeah, so the Mays built the house in 1904, and the Mays were really influential Northsiders. At one point, they took over 60 of their closest friends and family on an all-expense-paid trip to Paris.
What?
First-class rail from here to New York, on the Aquitania to France. And the equivalent today, they would have spent about $2.4 million on this trip. They were very generous folks.
And they like to throw parties, too, apparently.
They did, and so do we. We like to be a part of that history.
Yeah, I can only imagine getting your house ready for a house tour like that. The preparation is just, it sounds stressful, but you did a really good job there.
Thank you.
But what are some of the other memorable stories that will be told on this tour?
Yeah, so we don't want to give everything away, but there is another home which will also be featured on the Nebby series, owned by a friend of mine. And that house not only has a Golden Girls room, but it is also the setting for a murder for hire plot.
No. Yeah. Like a real life one?
A real life one.
Get out of town. You're not, see, and he's going to leave us hanging.
You got to come on the tour to find out.
As you should. How many houses are included in total?
Sure, so we have 10 stops this year, one being the Observatory, and then we have 8 beautiful homes lined up and ready for us.
For someone who's never been on one of these, how are they led? Is it self-led, and then the owner is usually present at each of the homes?
Exactly. So you'll meet at the entrance to Riverview Park, and from there you're given a tour booklet. All of the homes are available anywhere between noon and 5 p.m. And you're able to create your own tour. Take as long as you'd like, or go as quickly as you'd like.
Yeah, you know, for someone like myself who hasn't spent much time in Observatory Hill, even though I am from Pittsburgh, I've heard many wonderful stories. Do these home tours, does this just tell the overall story of that area of the city?
Yes, it does. Because the park is such a large part of our neighborhood, you know, it's 190 acres. You could even just spend a few hours exploring in the park alone if you wanted to.
It's a really gorgeous place. We're so happy you joined us and really need to hear a little bit of the backstory of your own home. So thank you for that.
All right, the Observatory Hill House Tour is Sunday, June 29th at noon. For tickets, head to our website, kdka.com/talkpittsburgh.